Greece will be our opening map pick, courtesy of PacB. And yeah, Greece is going to be one map that I will be very interested to see how it develops. Brazil, Neon picked this one. There's a reason for it. If you missed Neon's scintillating performance earlier on, make sure to rewatch the VODs here on Twitch. They will be posted on YouTube at a later date, but yeah, make sure to rewatch those performances. China, France, and USA will complete the map picks.
Yeah, I think PacB is going to try to make good on their massive 3-1 loss against Big earlier today and try to get those extra points. I think this is one of their last matches that they still have to play against one of the better teams in Division 1. VPxNeon is an absolute menace when it comes to pace and consistency. However, you know, I mean, when you're playing against the literal world champions, then maybe you're going to have to go into that match with a little bit more... what's the word that I'm looking for? It's gonna be a little bit more difficult mentally.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult mentally. Now, you might see me kind of looking away from the camera every so often. It was such a last-minute call, and I didn't have my tablet set up for the stats, and I literally just punched in the names of the two teams to actually get the stats on each and every driver on the map. So we got 19 rounds and 21 rounds respectively for PacB and for VPxNeon, so good sample sizes. As we go on to Greece, it will be Paco who has the best PB on match with a .293, although in terms of median, it is going to be PacB who has the pocket above everything else. .543 for Carl, .561 for Pac, and although I say that they do have, Paco and Carl have 8 round wins apiece on that particular map as well, and the only downside is for Pac with 1 DNA to his name. Out of 21 rounds, that makes for a 4.8% rating, so you have to interpret the ratings with a bit of a pinch of salt, but still, that could be something a career it's ugly head for PacB, and as far as predictions go, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I'm expecting we'll get at least 4 maps, but I'm seeing maybe PacB looking to make good on their PacB loss. They did win 3-0 against Foot a little bit earlier on. I say PacB against PacB. It's PacB against Big, of course, where they lost 3-1. They won 3-0 against Foot. I'm expecting that run of form to continue there for both Carl and Pac.
Yeah, I don't think you can become a world champion without just being incredibly consistent. So I don't think the individual round PBs are the thing to be looking at. And well, that's the big screen. That's the wrong one. It's PacB versus Virtus Pro Neon. But you know, no one saw that. No one caught that. That just happens sometimes. It's okay. We're gonna be heading out here now into this round number 1, and it's gonna be a little bit of a show of what we can expect from this match. Both the VPxNeon players, of course, insane players, Neon and Paco in their own right, players that have been coming up. They're going to be playing against very, very big players with Carl Jr. and Pac in one of their toughest matches, most likely.
Yeah, currently after sector number 1, it will be Neon, Paco, Carl, and Pac in that order, although that order will be shuffled a little bit after the first drop-down section before checkpoint 7, and it's going to be the Kid versus the Ghost, side by side in the lead of the race. 8 milliseconds in favor of Neon at the split before checkpoint number 9 in the big NASCAR turn, but Carl will be this time trading the lead by the same gap of 9 milliseconds at checkpoint 10. Checkpoint 11, it's still Neon and Carl side by side, now puts to Paco, trying to make it a 3-way fight for the lead, and Pac still in hot pursuit, although he did drop a bit of time before checkpoint 13 in that long slingshot in the dirt before set checkpoint 13. The identity coming up. Can we see some spicing happen? And will be spiciness, but on the wrong side of the ladder for Pusito Paco. Pac promoted up to 3rd, but Neon resists the assault of Carl Jr. and clocks in a .395. He does not give 2 flying feathers about who is behind him. As long as he stays behind him, it will be 1-1 at the end of round 1 on map 1.
Yeah, I mean, what can you even say? If you enjoyed that last map and how close it was, and you want to see that exact same match, but with even greater pace and more consistency, then I think this is going to be the one to look out for, as PacB, VPxNeon is going to be opening up on PacB's map pick with a draw 1-1, and Neon with an amazing time. So let's see if they can keep that one going. Neon and Paco finding themselves in a sort of early lead after that first checkpoint, but Carl Jr. with more speed is going to be overtaking as we head into that first drop-down section here with Neon still up in the lead. He's just been, I was about to say driving impressive, but he's going to be clipping and falling behind in 4th place.
Yeah, went too wide and thus clipped the edge of the blocks, or maybe even the poles just after that, so that will be dropping the Polish player down in 4th position. Pusito Paco all on his own, try and bring at least a point of the board for VPxNeon, or in the best of cases, enforce the draw, but he has to make his way around and past Carl Jr. and he's going to be running out of rope very soon to do it. As we go into the identity, that's going to be his best shot, as he gets a solid nosedive and a great skip of the penalty grass and a bit of a wonky entry into the identity because of this, and Pac takes advantage of that, but not for long, as he clips, and how did he get away without any respawns? Neon is able to take advantage of that? No! By 100th of a second, all the chaos ensuing into that Tetromino staircase drop down, just like it has been the case throughout the entirety of the life of this map. My word, Paco was able to salvage something out of this despite a very, very inauspicious entry to the identity. It will be 2-2 at the end of round 2.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, I saw that go either way until the very end, but we're closing that one out with another draw to keep the scoreline tied early, and I think we're in for another long one as both teams are duking it out here at the moment, and this round is still looking like the repeat of what we've been seeing the past 2 other rounds, with Neon going way too wide, though.
Yeah,
it's gonna be on Paco, unfortunately, to defend another draw position here. He was able to do it last time, just sneak up into first place position. The NASCAR turn is gonna come in, it's looking great for them. The speed tech drift, and all 3 players at the top, Paco and Carl in that order, are almost tied up, and it's going to come down once again to that critical identity.
Here we go then, with Paco still having to do all the heavy lifting there to try and prevent PacB from getting any kind of numerical advantage in points. As we go into the identity, a bit of a safer setup into the drop down to the third platform for Pusito Paco. Will it cost him dearly? Can he compensate for it with a nosedive? No, the nosedive will take him to his demise, and thus Carl and Pac will get the ace that they need to make a breakaway run for freedom. A .431 versus a .484 for Carl and Pac respectively, and such a heavy set landing at the end of the final part of the identity for Pusito Paco. That is going to be stinging quite a bit as they see PacB now with a 3-point lead.
Yeah, that last landing there costing Paco just so much time. He's going to be falling behind. I saw all 3 players at the top there separated by less than 0.01, maybe even, like insane margins, but that's just what it came down to that round, and PacB's going to be walking away from that one with an amazing ace to their name, 3-point lead in Division 1. Ooh, Carl? Where's Carl gone? He's away, he's gone.
You missed the ice slide completely. How could you not know how to do that? In the meantime, yeah, Carl Jr. did not get the proper line through the ice slide, exited way too far inside, had no speed whatsoever, and that will be demoting the 7-time world champion down to last place. 1.3 seconds down to Neon, and Carl forced to respawn, actually. He might have missed something in the, that might have been the NASCAR turn, the double left-hander. He might have pinged the wall somewhere, and both Pac and Neon will actually clubber the wall on the exit of the dirt flick, not the dirt flick, that's USA, the dirt corner before checkpoint 13. My brain is slowly starting to be deep fried with what's happening here on Greece. Pusito Paco, amidst all the chaos, takes the lead. Neon still retains the 2nd place, and immediately the retaliation is felt by PacB from VPxNeon as the counter ace is dealt.
Yeah, and, you know, I was about to say, you know, a 3-point lead in Division 1. I mean, that's almost impossible to catch back up, but no, never mind. I was wrong again. VPxNeon proving that they are not here to drop this game because of a silly mistake, and tying up the scoreline 5-5. Although I gotta say, the silly mistake was really on the side of Cole Jr. that last round, dropping all that way behind, and so now they've got to deal with the consequences of that. The ice slide is going to be coming in here, and it's once again looking very, very similar to the paces earlier, though this time Carl Jr. managing to go through clean. First drop down section looking a little sketchy, but all players making it through clean, and Neon finding himself up in quite a big lead ahead of everyone else in the pack who's duking it out between themselves.
Yeah, as soon as Ron was about ready to pick it up, he goes too early to the apex of the first part of the double right-hander NASCAR turn, double left-hander NASCAR turn, and clips the apex, sending him pinballing and careening to the other side of the fence. And once again, Pusito Paco called in for backup support, called in for help to try and enforce the draw and prevent PacB from gaining the lead once again, but it will not be a challenge that will be long-lived. It will be very short-lived, in fact, as Pac and Carl go hand-in-hand to the finish line, and we'll move on to an 8-5 scoreline, and will be on their first attempt to close out the first map here in this series. Neon seemed to have dialed himself in on that first drop-down section midway through the map, but then just a single ping of the corner at the apex of the NASCAR turn at checkpoint 9, and that was all enough to derail the plans of VPxNeon to keep this map a little bit interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the pace, you can only imagine just how fast Neon actually was. I mean, PacB, they're closing it out with a high point 3, and now just imagine in your mind's eye how far ahead Neon was there earlier, and then you can really know what kind of pace he was putting down there. Neon is an incredibly fast player for sure. The only thing he's really missing right now is that consistency, but if he keeps going like this, I very well can see him being one of the best, or, you know, among those top players very, very soon, if he isn't already. And the way he's been playing, he definitely is. PacB is trying to close it out. Carl Jr. with a clip. We're heading now towards that identity. And G-Geek, do you see this one going another counter race towards VPxNeon?
It's going to take one mighty mistake from Pac, who actually sends in, for all it's worth, his car and tries to take the fight to Neon. Will the fight be successful for the man from Vitality? The answers are no. Neon, again, with great resilience throughout the entirety of this final part of the round, will clock in a 113.378 versus a 0.405 for Pac, and thus prevent Pac from securing the draw that would have kept VPxNeon from reaching track points. And now it's very much the final round here on Greece. Either Pac does get the point for second place and thus win their map, or Neon pull out all the stops and pull the ace out of their sleeves to rattle PacB a bit before going on to Brazil.
Yeah, ace or bust. Right now, VPxNeon, if they want to take PacB's first map pick away from them, then it's gonna be an ace. But, of course, Carl Jr. and Pac are insane players, and they only need one of them to finish this one in. Oh, spot number 2!
Oh,
Paco was going too wide, and I think that's gonna be closing it out here, unfortunately, for VPxNeon, with a costly mistake there. But who can blame him? The way he has been pushing, and he had to push because, well, they had to get an ace.
They had to get an ace, and yeah, unfortunately, it's Paco who ended up being the weak link in that particular round, as he went a bit too wide in the final drop down. Well, penultimate drop down, and then went too wide in the final drop down, forced himself to respawn because of the clip that ensued. Neon, his teammate, will try to uphold the individual honor of VPxNeon here, and looks to be doing it quite nicely with a quarter of a second advantage compared to the nearest PacB player, despite a bit of a slowdown here in the identity. We'll be clocking in a 0.707, 54 milliseconds ahead of Pac. Carl in third, Paco in fourth. It will be 10-8, and PacB win their first map pick as awaited of them, but definitely VPxNeon giving a good run for Pac and Carl Jr.'s money, and that might actually play a big part of the momentum that VPxNeon are going to try to carry through into Brazil, which will be our next map.
Yeah, I am so impressed. This VPxNeon team, the longer the split has gone on, the better they've seemed to start playing. Being the first team to pick a map pick away from All Gamers, the current #1 spot, of course, in Division 1, and now also putting up such an amazing fight against PacB. Not quite able to close it out on that first map, but Brazil is going to be their very own first map pick, and this is the map that they won against All Gamers, no?
Yeah, and also, correction, Tobal.
Oh,
All Gamers was #1. They are now #2, because Big are undefeated. They are 7 match wins in, but a map diff that is 2 maps above what All Gamers have. So by the end of their marathon this weekend, Big are currently at the top of the pile here in Division 1, as we are going to go on to Brazil. Just checking up the stats, and you can see, of course, Neon, 103.784. He's got the best match time out of everyone else, but he's also been a bit of a glass cannon. Out of 44 rounds that has been played here on this map for him, 14 have been round wins, 15 of them have been round P4s, or last places, and he has 1 black mark against his name in the form of 1 DNF. So a bit more consistency on the part of both Paco and Carl Jr., especially in terms of the medium. Carl Jr. with a 104.133, the best of the bunch.
Yeah, but, you know, I think Neon's big strength isn't really his consistency, it's just his pace, which is absolutely insane. And kind of to be expected if you're kind of, you know, the young guy coming in. Usually you're not the person that's going to be driving those consistent rounds. You leave that to the experienced player, but you're going to be the guy where people say, did he really just drive that time in rounds? But yeah, this first round here on Brazil seemingly going more towards the favor of PacB as they're locking down a 1-2 position. And let's check out the split here. This checkpoint, the midpoint 4 coming in from Carl Jr. So heading into this identity, it might be able to pull off a great time.
Yeah, it might be a 103.9 to a 0.8 in the making, as we do see Posito Paco pressing B for boost. Same for Neon. Unfortunately, gets a little bit sideways and now turning into the wrong direction. And it will be Paco trying to salvage a point. Will not be able to do so for less than 0.04 of a second, for 33 milliseconds. In fact, the gap was between second and third, but Carl clocking in a 0.956, kind of in line with the 0.4 split that we saw during checkpoint 13, as we do see a little bit of a pinballing effect, but a bit of a wild pinball action there on that particular glider sector from Neon. It will be 3-0 for PacB. VPxNeon looking to try and correct the shot as early as round 2.
Yeah, and not quite the way that VPxNeon is expecting this way to start out. Of course, that big mistake from Neon costing quite a bit. Paco also looking a little bit shaky, but overall it was just the pace of PacB that was closing out that match and secured that ace. VPxNeon has to respond with a counter ace of their own, but with that clip, and I'm not sure what happened exactly, Neon finding himself all the way in 4th place position, which leads to the same situation that we've seen before, and Paco having to defend.
Yeah, unfortunately, what happened there is what happened to Massa during the League Cup final round, where he had a very hefty scrape of that little transition over to checkpoint number 5 with the plank of his car, which kind of ran up to a dead stop compared to the rest of the field, dropping him down to P4. And then after that, he didn't catch it on camera, but he did skim the top of the water with his wheels and ended up getting zooped out of existence in the first glider part. So that is going to be compounding the misery of VPxNeon right now in that second round. And Paco doing his best to try and slot himself in between the two PacB cars, but to no avail for the second time running. It will be Pac this time, though, clocking in a sub 104 at 0.991. Carl will be into the 104s with a 0.014. There you go. I was trying to give the calculation in my head. I got it. I got there eventually. But back-to-back aces for PacB, definitely looking to rattle VPxNeon there quite the amount.
Yeah, bad to worse for VPxNeon on their first map pick, as PacB is looking like they are trying to secure an early 2-point overall lead here as soon as possible. 2 rounds deep, 6 points up. No points for VPxNeon, and I think really the factor that's been making that scoreline happen so far is just kind of Neon not quite able to find his groove. The mistakes just too grave, and Paco can't really carry the entire match against Carl Jr. and Pac on his back alone. But this round might just be a different story, as both of the VPxNeon players are finding themselves in the lead. Paco Neon ahead of Pac, and yeah, we're heading towards that classic ball ride.
Yeah, a little bit of a bumpy ride through the beach before the first glider for Carl Jr. sees him dropping down to P4, as we do see Paco and Neon both in the 0.4s at checkpoint 13. So this is looking to be a very, very solid round time. 0.9s to 0.8s all around. If they are able to keep the pace going throughout the identity, Paco going way too wide, allowing Carl Jr. to move up into second place provisionally. Will it be a permanent position? Thomas, remember to slow the hell down when that happens. 0.977 to a 0.981. It will be the first of 2 counter aces needed for VPxNeon, who slashed the gap back down to 3 points.
Wow, and if we checked out those winning times, all 4 players within 0.1 of each other, and still the ace going VPxNeon's way. What an insane round we just had to watch there. And oh, Pac with a huge mistake is gonna allow a potential second counter ace going the way of VPxNeon if Carl can be defeated here. And I mean, this round so far is leaving me speechless. I think we don't have a single round so far where no player has gotten a 103.9 at least, which is absolutely an insane stat. But Neon with that mistake is going to be falling behind in the 3rd place position. So now it's going to be Carl versus Paco to decide this round.
0.408 looking again like a 0.9 in the making. Paco all on his own to try and prevent PacB from, well, it's going to be a draw in that particular sense, but if they want to prevent the draw from being enforced, Paco needs to work his way around the 7-time world champion. Maybe he has an opportunity. He's going to run out of road, though, or run out of lake, rather. It will be Carl still leading the charge and taking the round win individually with a 0.962, a 10th ahead of Posito Paco. Neon in 3rd, Pac in 4th. It will be the draw at the end of this round, and 7-4 for PacB, who are on the first attempt to close out the 2nd map in a row here in this series and put VPxNeon a little bit on the back foot there as we are going to be continuing to cycle our way through those maps.
Yeah, VPxNeon still needing that critical second ace that they're missing, and those are the 3 points that PacB is ahead. They were able to do it once, but they need to do it again, and that's not gonna be an easy feat here, especially with the nerves kicking in. The track point for the second map point for PacB is on their way, and they might just be looking to close it out as soon as possible. But VPxNeon is an amazing team, and Neon is looking to push up and to the front here at the moment. Carl Jr. somehow finding himself in 4th place position. It is a PacB sandwich.
PacB sandwich, but right now the bottom part of the sandwich, or rather the bottom bun, is looking to overtake a part of the salad there as Paco gets dropped down to last before checkpoint 12. 45.425 for Pac, still leading, but he has a fight of his own against Neon. He's got his hands full right there, Pac. Make no mistake, Neon can really pile the pressure on when he is locked in. He's looking very much so in the final part of the round until he full stop picks the gate of checkpoint 17. 10-4 for PacB, and Neon just flings himself over the finish gate, decides to not even reach it. He crosses his arms and just kicks his feet up in the air. Is like, nah, I'm not doing it. I blew my chance. I'm not going to be taking the pity points. 10-4 for PacB, 2-0 for Carl and Pac, and we're going to be moving on to our next map. It is China up next.
What an unfortunate round. But going the way of PacB, their second point, early, what's early lead? A big lead, heading on to China, a map where consistency is also important. However, we did see Big completely tear apart PacB here, if I remember correctly. So, it's gonna be a toss-up. G-Geek, since we have this time, we were talking about sandwiches earlier. What part of a sandwich would you be if you were a sandwich?
I'd rather be none and rather be the one eating the sandwich. Thank you very much. In the meantime, let's take a look at the stats, chat. Let's stop being a bit of degenerates. We had a bit of degeneracy going on in the previous month. Let's look at the stats going into China, shall we? In terms of medians, it's going to be Carl Jr. who has the best times of 105.854 median time for the Canadian, and out of the 22 rounds that he's played with Pac on this map, he has won 7 of them. Pac has 1 less round win than him. He is on 6. And so far, everybody's been reliable, no DNFs whatsoever here on this map. And it's one of those maps where it's very much the first few corners and the buck slide that can determine the outcome of the round in the first 5 to 10 seconds. So we're going to have to be very wary of how things go down there. In terms of the other team, well, VPxNeon, they're both in the 106s for medians, 0.011 for Paco, 0.085 for Neon. Neon, who is currently in the 0.394 best time, he is the 3rd fastest driver in theory here on this matchup, but Carl, again with the best time, a 105.264.
Yeah, and let's just see how this first round pans out. Neon, Carl, and I believe Paco going for the buck slide there. Neon getting the worst of it. Is going to be falling all the way in the 4th place position. And the PacB players locking down the 1-2 positions early. We're heading into the ice slide here, so let's see if they can get some good exit speed out of this one. And Paco is looking also good, looking to try and overtake Pac here, but PacB is locking down the ace formation right now.
Yeah, but Paco definitely trying to go for the same kind of send that we saw a little bit earlier on over the girder before the climb to checkpoint number 7. It did not pay off for the Hungarian player, though, as he finds himself still staring down the rear bumper of Pac. Now he goes for the throat and actually takes advantage of a bit of a delta of speed in his favor after the dirt drop down. And Pac will be dropping down the 3rd provisionally, but with a deeper entry into the first ice turnaround, he will be able to recoup that 2nd place and will be locking the ace down. For PacB, Carl Jr. streaking ahead, will clock in a point 464, 3/10 ahead of his teammates, who thus denies any kind of points going the way of VPxNeon by less than a 10.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing a little bit of a repeat here that we saw on Brazil with an ace opening it up for PacB. Let's see the second buck slide. Carl Jr., the only one going for it right here, and it's going to be netting him an early lead. Not quite the speed he wanted. Neon with a no slide is going to be falling back in 4th place again, and we're seeing a repeat of last round. Both PacB players up in the lead with Paco chasing behind. This time he's even further behind, and well, I don't want to be the one to say it too early, but I think PacB is going to get a 2nd ace here.
Yeah, this is looking like a 6-0 angle, some would say. Unfortunately for PacB, he had troubles at the start. He might have clobbered the wall on the way into the full slingshot around the right-hand dirt turn. And of course, for Carl, we didn't get the best of exits, but then Neon with a nose slide kind of like eased the pain of that bug slide missed execution on the part of the Canadian, who still sits pretty in the lead by a tenth and a half ahead of his own teammate. Will slide a little bit sideways at the exit of the first nice turnaround, but it will be inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. He will still enjoy his second back-to-back round win here on China. We'll be clocking in a slightly slower time, this time of a 0.591, 84 milliseconds ahead of PacB and Neon third and fourth, but PacB will be in the lead, will be reaching the finish line. Will Neon be able to reach the line? He will be doing so with 1 second to spare. He's right on the buzzer because he went too deep into the second turnaround and was stuck in the snow right behind it.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really the optimal start. This is also VPxNeon's second map pick, and so both of their map picks have not gone well at the start. This round is seeing Neon with an amazing bug slide, finally the start that he's been looking for, that he hadn't gotten so far. And so this is a prime time chance for VPxNeon to try and make their way back into an already, what seems like almost already lost match here. PacB, the only one who's trying to find his way up, and Neon with a mistake is gonna be falling back behind, and so I've spoken too soon. It's now just gonna come down to, will PacB make a big mistake, or are they gonna keep building this great lead that they have?
Man, this is not even a mistake. This is borderline Formula 1 style super clipping at this point that we witnessed Neon suffer from in that convex platform. He got absolutely mullered by both PacB and Carl, although Carl is finding himself sandwiched in between PacB and Neon in second position, so it will likely not be an ace, but a simple quote-unquote victory for PacB. PacB with a .634 will clock in the round win individually, 2/10 clear of Posito PacB, 8-1 for the blue side, and they look to make it a 4-round deal to finish off their day here on Overdrive, and it looks as though it might be curtains very soon for VPxNeon. They might try to get a bit of a shot in the arm, but I don't think it will be enough.
Yeah, the match point going the way of PacB, and with that mistake from Neon there, the bug slide exit, not what he wanted to. He hits with his back wheels, and well, then he lands so hard, he's going to be falling all the way behind. The ice slide is looking good for all four players. However, Neon's just going to fall even further behind as both PacB players are up in the lead, with PacB the only one able to defend. If anything were to happen here, he needs to grab first place to secure a draw.
Is going to be looking very grim, but Neon is back in the fight. Hello, so maybe a first place for Posito PacB is no longer needed as he goes a bit wide. Oh no, what happened there? Doesn't even get any rotation before the drop down, so now we're back to square one, and it's PacB versus Carl. Currently, PacB is not in any position to make any kind of attack stick, and with that, Carl in first, PacB second, PacB in third. It will be GG no re for PacB against VPxNeon, 10-2 on China. 3-0 overall, and with that, I think I can already tell you that we have another lead change in the standings of Division 1. It will be PacB with their 7th game win, moving up to the top of the heap. We have 3 teams that are all tied up in terms of match wins. We have PacB, Big, and All Gamers, and it's all about the map difference. Plus 16 map diff for All Gamers. They won 21, lost 5. A plus 18 map diff for Big, 121, lost 3, and a plus 19 for PacB, who won 22 maps and lost 3 of them. So that is going to be leaving the standings a little bit shaken up before we wrap all things up here in Division 1. Of course, we're not wrapping up the stream just yet. There's one more Division 2 game that we have to kind of like guide you through. But I hope we'll be able to show you the standings of Division 1 after that match because, yeah, as I said, there's been plenty of shuffling about, and this does have some implications in terms of who will get access to the Division 1 playoffs. As you can see on the top of the standings, PacB with 1 extra point in the map diff against Big and All Gamers will complete the top 3, and VPxNeon, all in all, still find themselves in the top 4. They are right in the zone to access the playoffs. Genji Weibo, courtesy of their somewhat lackluster day, find themselves on the bumpy P5. Orglis in P6 and Cook have fallen all the way down to 7th. Foot in 8th, Navi in 9th, having finished their season out. Team USAC theoretically, still mathematically has a shot of trying to make it interesting between Navi and USAC for who gets automatically relegated to Division 2. But realistically speaking, I'm thinking Navi might just have one fighting chance to remain in Div 1 through the barrage.
Yeah, but then again, you have to remember, Navi is going to have to fight against the second place of Division 2, and very, very likely that's going to be Ragnarok, which...
It is Ragnarok locked in. Ragnarok has been locked in no matter what Tempo Bros and Onyx do.
And Ragnarok, of course, is not an easy matchup to play against, so...
It's not an easy matchup, plus they're really, really hungry. Melio and Evan, they know they got that dog in them, as they say. They really want to access Division 1. I really feel like it.
Yeah, but... yeah, if we're gonna circle this back real quick to PacB and VPxNeon, I think the takeaway here is, well, PacB is certainly the winner of that match, and the other thing that we're gonna keep taking away, and every time we see him play, Neon is putting down insane pace. If that guy ever gets consistent, I think you've got to watch out, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been telling multiple times, a talent of the future, very, very young, just 16 years old, will be likely turning 17 this year, and already at that young age, he's had some pretty stout results in his career. For instance, along with Levon, as part of the Pigeon Duo, won the RMX Duo Edition, which was a homologated Trackmania World Tour event at the time, which earned him a berth into the global playoffs for Stage 2, where they finished in the top 8. So it is going to be very, very interesting as... yeah, we are we are getting a status report from Mr. Marchielli that about the Genji Foot game. Currently, it is 1 map apiece. Currently, map 3. It will be Genji Weibo leading 8-5.
Yeah, but I do believe we're going to be taking a small break here before that last match, because, I mean, most certainly I need it, and I think everyone's going to need it. So we're going to be right back with you, and don't go anywhere. That last match is one you will also want to watch.